Hey,
Hey, how
mein
you doing,
Bruder.
buddy? How you doing?
I could be a whole lot better. How about you?
Yeah, I'm all right. Just kind of relaxing for the day.
Good. The week caught you on the right day.
You did. Don't have the kids today to, you know, completely hog up the phone, and
Mm-hmm.
so I'm here for about 30 minutes or so.
Nice. Nice.
Yeah, I've just been responding to trolls online all day.
Oh man,
It seems like they've been coming
it's
in
a
by the
deep dark.
dozen.
Huh?
It seems like they've been coming in by the dozen.
Yes, I've noticed that.
Yeah, especially with the whole flat Earth thing. That's like they flock to it. Like, why would you go to something that you don't like, that you think is stupid? Like, why are you taking time out of your day to watch something like, to troll people? Like, I don't go to things I don't
Nicki
like.
Minaj
Yeah,
videos.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. I mean, you obviously have some doubts about, you know, the model that we've been shown, or they wouldn't have researched it.
Mm-hmm.
It's just easier to buy into to the narrative, I guess, than think for yourself and go against the grain.
It's tough enough getting by day to day. I can kind of understand it.
Yeah, I've heard that from a lot of people, but it's just they don't understand that NASA is a government-run, space program in the first place. So it's like, they just think, oh, well, the government will lie to you, but not NASA. So these are the same people that will say, 9/11 was an inside job, yada, yada, yada. Everything else is a lie, but, NASA, they would never lie to you.
About the biggest thing ever, space.
Right.
That's the biggest thing, right?
Yeah, it really is. And I was looking, at a couple videos of some balloons going up into low Earth orbit, and it's pretty strange. You don't see stars past, right when you get into low Earth orbit. You don't see any stars, and even on the NASA pictures, you don't see any stars. Like, there was one picture that I saw with stars, but you could tell they were photoshopped because it was like the same pattern, 2 or 3 times. So they don't have an answer for that. It's pretty funny when you can see the stars 12,000 miles away, or 1,200 miles away, excuse me, from low Earth orbit on the ground, but you can't see them in low Earth orbit. So when you ask them that, they don't have an answer. They don't have an answer to a lot of things. They just, all the people who get on the videos and get on the sites and on the forums, all they do is just it's ad hominem attack after ad hominem attack. It's never anything with substance.
Have you come across a fella called Red's Rhetoric?
Sounds familiar. Why?
He's one of those YouTubers that says, "Oh, these stupid flat earthers, they don't fucking understand, they're so retarded."
Right.
This is a guy who spent 3 weeks of his life responding to comments on one of my flat earth videos.
Oh wow. Yeah, if he thought that, he would move on, to something intelligent, in his opinion.
Whether
He obviously didn't think it was too stupid.
yeah, right?
Yeah, or he
This
would
is the
have
key.
moved the fuck on.
Exactly, this is the key. No matter what it is that you're attacking, whether it's 9/11, Flat Earth, or, I don't know, the genocide of Palestinians, if you think that shit's retarded and you're spending a lot of time on it, that's just a reflection of where you're at.
Right.
You are
It's-
retarded.
Exactly. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, why would you do something that you don't like to do? I mean, I understand, looking into it a little bit, move on, after you've came to the conclusion that it's retarded. So, these people, it seems like it seems like some of them, are on every video. Like you said, you see the same insults over and over and over again. You'll hear the people claim that gravity exists because, well, it does. That's that's their only, that's the only thing they'll say. And they'll say that, it's still heliocentric. The Earth is heliocentric, and they don't have any proof for that, even though with your own observation, you don't feel like we're spinning at, I don't remember how many miles, thousands of, I think it was 1,000 miles.
It's negligible how fast it is.
Right. It's pretty ridiculous. It's Neil deGrasse Tyson is he's a really big prick, and it was pretty funny because I really don't like that B.O.B. rapper guy. I don't like rap in general.
Uh-huh.
But
Neither Tila
I mean,
Tequila. I don't like her either.
Oh, yeah, she's I never have really liked her. She says some really dumb stuff, like she says that she's a clone herself and all kind of,
Or an android, more appropriately.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She just keeps making a fool out of herself and everybody else. I mean, I think people like her are just, completely controlled. I mean, she was on some kind of MTV fucking reality show, if that says anything.
It says a lot. Yeah.
And now she's like trying to be some kind of intellectual. And maybe she had some intelligence shoved down somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
But
she could be MK Ultra. Yeah.
It very well could be. They said that ended, but I don't believe that for 1 second.
No.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. But what's really funny is the same people who believe in reptilians are the ones attacking flat Earth. They're like, oh, that's total. That could totally happen, but a flat Earth, no way.
But the Queen is a lizard.
Right. Yeah, makes a whole lot of sense to say that the people who are in charge are, lizards. Then makes a lot more sense to say that than they're totally just evil fucking people.
Mm-hmm.
I think they're just evil people.
Yep. Psychopaths. We have a biological, neurological fucking thing that we can point to here. But the thing is, what gets me about that contradiction there is that the reptilian people got that from David Icke. And David Icke is talking about the Matrix and how we're all stuck in a big illusion. Couldn't that illusion be on a flat Earth by chance?
Doesn't he play it down too? I don't really get into much David Icke. I've heard him say the moon isn't real.
Mm-hmm.
That it's a hologram, and I've looked into that a little bit with Crow 777 and the lunar wave. Have you seen any of those videos?
Yes, and I took a snapshot of one of his videos and I ran it through photoforensics.com. And I found that the line that's going through the moon is actually going through the rest of the frame. So he has inserted that line.
Wow. Have you put in any of the other videos? There's a few other people that have taken the a video of the lunar wave, but it just sounds,
Why would they leave a malfunctioning projector there for that long? Like,
especially after finding out about it.
yeah, right? Oh yeah, they pointed out an error in our thing. That's what hackers are good for. A hacker hacks your network, and then you say, "Oh wow, there's a vulnerability. Let's fix that."
Exactly. Yeah, he hasn't really he hasn't really touched on that. You know, I it's still pretty strange how you know that you can't see the stars and you can't see the planets. Are they just lights? You know, are they just like LED lights in the sky? It's pretty strange. I was on the internet a few days ago and I stumbled upon this theory that the stars are sonoluminescent, and it's basically like this fusion that you can produce in a little jar, and you'll get the same effect as the light from a star, and it's pretty strange. It's
Wait, refresh my
check it
memory.
out.
Come across this.
It's basically like, I don't want to say cold fusion. It's some kind of fusion that basically just produces a really, really bright light. And the theory is that after a certain point in the sky, something is blocking them off or turning them off, or it could be, it very well could be projections, from a past civilization. Who knows? I mean, I don't really, throw anything away for, too wild, because I personally believe that civilization has restarted itself several times.
Oh yeah.
And it's just, our history books are complete lies. And the World War II truth, that shows it. They don't talk about the Holodomor. They don't talk about who was behind World War One. They don't talk about, who the Bolsheviks even were.
Mm.
They don't talk about, the millions of people that were slaughtered, Christians, that is, because they were white and Christian. But yeah, it's a strange world we live in.
And as someone who is really, on the fence on this flat Earth stuff, I'm not totally surprised that, people will come to the conclusion that, hey, we have been lied to about the sky and the Earth that we stand on.
Right.
If we could just be given a little bit of space to contemplate this, to look at it, investigate it.
Right. From their own, invested from like an actual scientist standpoint, they're not going to do that because they don't do actual science. It's just regurgitation from NASA. They're not going to do anything that doesn't go with the narrative.
The principle of modern day science is that you build up. You build stories upon stories, knowledge upon knowledge, and it all relies on the conclusions and assumptions that came before. But real science is being able to look at the foundation level. Being able to, if you have to, go back down to basics. Get rid of all of your assumptions. This is not at all what they're doing in modern science.
No. It's pretty sad, because this is what they're teaching our children, and
It's
it's
what
not
we pay
producing
for.
exactly. It's not producing any. It's not producing a generation of intellectuals. It's producing indoctrinated zombies, and it's really discouraging when you think about it because you know it's not getting any better. It's actually getting worse.
And what they have next year? Bionic arms and bionic penises, and they'll
What?
just replace all parts of your body and give you wings and...
Yeah, I've heard about some of the robotics like that, and I don't doubt it for a minute. But are you really going to get any feeling from a robotic penis? You know, I mean, is it for
Well,
show or?
they're getting there. You know, it's amazing what... it's amazing what cybernetics can do to the nervous system. You
Yeah,
know,
it's pretty crazy what the brain can do.
oh yeah, you can insert a GPS system into your nervous system, and you'll always have an instinctive feeling of which direction is home. And this is
Wow,
technology that we have today.
really? I did
Uh
not
huh.
know that.
But the thing is that this isn't human. This isn't a
Yeah.
human experience. You
And
can
it
have
will
a
never be
bionic
available.
penis, and you can have all of the sensations in the world coming from that bionic penis, but do you have an experience of being a man?
Oh yeah, that's pretty crazy to think about. You know, I don't think I would feel like a man with a bionic penis. I mean, yeah, that's something to think about right there. So, how have you been on your? Who did you have on last week? I can't remember.
Professor Daryl Hamamoto.
Did he ever show up?
Yes, he. There was a miscommunication, and we started at 11 p.m. when he should have came on at 9 p.m. And what happened was, I waited for him for an hour, and at 10 p.m. I said, "Fuck this! I'm going to get wasted." So I drank a load of rum, and then he decided to come on,
Oh
and
man,
I was useless.
was he irritated?
Huh?
Was he irritated?
No, oh, he was amazing. He was a lovely guest to have on. I'm currently going through every single moment of the podcast to get the references that he cites and to clean up the audio a bit. And I'm going to make a real good presentation of it. It's going to be on YouTube and the EB Radio website.
Awesome.
And I think this might be actually something that draws attention to the station because he was on Infowars, he was on Gnostic Media, and I believe Sophia Smallstorm had a show with
Huh.
him.
Awesome. What did you guys talk about?
A lot of stuff.
Huh.
We touched on David Bowie. He's not a big fan of David Bowie.
Yeah, I'm not really either. What do you think about the whole situation?
I was very creeped out by those songs he came out with days before his
Oh,
death.
oh yeah,
And
they were strange to say the least.
yes. And
In the
then
video,
he died. And a soft spot opened up inside my heart. And I thought maybe there's something to this. And then Vigilant Citizen, if you're aware of him and his work.
yeah, I've heard of him.
He wrote a positive article about the man, saying that his whole work has been an occult, alchemical kind of a long life ritual, and the last video, Black Star, was the culmination of his work. It's a very interesting insight into Bowie's life work. He's always been presenting people with a kind of a transcendent possible future for humanity.
Right.
So I don't know. I'm in between. You know, he did some weird things. He did some good things.
What do you think about the Jack Stevens
Jack Stevens.
and the whole video that came out? That I think Russian Vids did a video on it, and a couple other people did too. It's
Oh,
this
the
guy
guy
that-
who's supposed to be David Bowie.
yeah, they have the exact same teeth. They have similar
The face.
mannerisms. Yeah, I mean, personally, I go back and forth on it, but the original video from 2009, the guy that calls himself Jack Stevens, who spoke about Bowie, he said something about him. He does not look anything like the second video, Jack Stevens. So that's pretty strange in itself.
Could you dig that up for us, the 2009 video?
Yeah.
Because what I noticed about that Sky News, I think he was on, or was it BBC?
I think it was BBC.
Okay, well, he was doing very well. And for a man who has only met Bowie once and got a telegram from him, he knew a lot about David Bowie.
Right.
And he was doing fine up until the presenter asked him a question of a personal nature. A personal nature from Bowie's perspective. And the first word out of the guy's mouth was a pronoun. He said,
Right.
I, and then he tripped over himself and said, I think Bowie. And then described what Bowie was possibly feeling. So that kind of sounds like he was talking about himself, but then he was like, oh wait, I have to pretend I'm someone else.
It's pretty funny. You know, I personally think it may be just another one of his characters. You know, that he plays. But it's Sky News, sorry. Let's see. I'm trying to find the 2009 video. Here it is.
But you're right about the character, because all throughout Bowie's career, there was this character, and then this character, and that character. So maybe his post-death is another character.
Because he did not look like he had cancer at all. And I've seen lots of people with cancer, and they look awful right before they die. You know? I mean, he had cancer for what? They said like 12 months, I think.
But
and
didn't his
Go ahead.
face look a bit eroded?
no, I think the video or the picture of him making a really weird face, like he was just making a really weird face. I think they did that on purpose. I think they did that to make him look, you know, unlike himself. Because when you think about it, I'm sure they had way more pictures of him than that, you know, picture where he was making a really weird face. So it's like, why did you guys choose that picture out of all the pictures that you had to have of him? Because when I
Right.
take a picture, you know, I snap a bunch of times just to try to get the best shot. And
Yeah.
the way cameras are nowadays, you know, that's what everybody's doing. You know, because you're trying to get the best shot. So,
Always.
you know, they chose a really bad picture of him, and he just didn't look that bad. And honestly, he wasn't all shriveled up. He looked normal to me, and a lot of people have said the same. But I just think it's strange how his ex-wife was on this
Big
TV
Brother.
show. Yeah, was that the one where she said that he staged his death rather well?
I'm unaware of that quote.
Oh yeah, those were her exact words. He's
Well, that can
he's
be
changed
read in
stuff
two
everywhere.
ways. Just to be the devil's advocate here, that could be read in two ways.
Yeah, but her choice of words was pretty
Yeah,
pretty
well,
odd.
just for some perspective here, Daryl Hamamoto, in his unflattering um, obituary, he explained how she was responsible for the various personae that David Bowie embodied throughout the years.
Right?
So she could be, kind of like his director,
Huh?
you know?
Right?
And to stage your death, it's a very special thing. If you know that that's coming, if you've got fair notice, wouldn't you do something spectacular?
Yeah, I'd like to think that I would. Especially if I were someone with money. Um, I mean, it's not really much you can do spectacular when you're poor. But yeah, I mean, and he did. I personally believe that the second Jack Stevens was him. Honestly,
You know,
it's really odd.
no, maybe it's the other way around. You know those lyrics in Black Star where he sings, on the day that he died, he stepped aside, somebody else took his place.
Huh?
Maybe Jack Stevens absorbed David Bowie's soul. I know that's really trippy, but, come on.
Huh? Yeah, it's possible. I mean, it's just the teeth, the teeth that they had, spot on, and that's what really led me to believe. I'm just waiting for somebody to do a voice analysis of it and see what that brings, because that's really that's going to be the way that that really brings some truth to the table.
Yeah. When it comes to his teeth, you have a very good observation there. That's the most important thing, because we're talking about 60, 70 years here, right?
Right.
That's a long
That's the
time
one
for
thing.
your teeth to corrode in different ways. I mean, you can see someone starting out with teeth that look the same as somebody else's, but 60 years down the line, man, that's going to change.
Right. Well, I'm just referring to pictures of him recently. His teeth were similar to Jack Stevens. Big, like horse looking teeth. It's just
Yeah.
his hair seems really fake. I'm sure it's probably a wig or or toupee or something. But
Treated
it's just
somehow.
odd that if it's not the first Jack Stevens, why in the hell did they have someone else play that part?
Mm-hmm.
Probably it may as well be a psyop, just to kind of fuck with everyone and distract them from what's important in the world right now, because it really did. A lot of people were focused on that. Hell, even the Trolls really came out that those few days. They were all about the fucking with anyone who thought that it might be David Bowie. Because celebrities have never faked their death before. Never. I'm almost 100% positive that a couple people have gotten away with it and then got caught. Celebrities, that is. Because I was really interested in finding out if anybody ever did that. I can't remember the guy's name, but he got away with it for a few months, if not like 6 months, and then he moved somewhere else, and he ended up getting caught and arrested. He was, you know, I can't remember. He was a certain politician. I don't remember his name, but I'm sure there are
Saddam
more
Hussein?
examples. No, I've heard he had like 7 nipples. I really, I don't know about Saddam Hussein. That's every picture you see of him looks completely different.
Hmm.
You
And
know,
the guy
they
that
said
they
he
hung
had-
looks like a fucking bum.
Oh yeah, it probably was. It probably was.
I mean, they needed a show. They needed something to show the world, hey, look, we're hanging this cunt.
It's pretty fucked up because he didn't really have anything to do with the United States.
He was a
and
hero.
terror. Right, to his people for sure.
Well,
Just
in
like,
the broader scheme of things, he was a hero. Just like Gaddafi. It seems that they're going after the great men in the Middle East. Saddam Hussein, Gaddafi, which is African but still Muslim, and Bashar al-Assad.
Oh yeah, they're decent people. They take them out real quick. And what they're doing is just creating future terrorists. People pissed off, at what happened, and they really have a right to be for their beloved leaders being assassinated. That's really what happened, or if that's what they think happened. It doesn't have to be what actually happened. Is all that has to happen for that to happen is for them to get that thought in their head, because it's with Gaddafi. I don't remember if they came out and said that they killed him, but they did.
Yeah. Here's Zach.
Yeah, yeah.
I badly need to take a piss.
Yeah, go ahead, man.
Do you want to keep the guys entertained, or shall I put on a song for the next 30 seconds?
Yeah, put on a song for a second.
All right.
I gotta
Good
go
stuff.
too.
All right.
Okay. I'll be here.
This is Colors in Your Eyes. Catch you in the flip side.
Colors in your eyes.
Alright, we'll return to that track in a moment. So, have you heard Black Star Backmasked?
No, I haven't. I saw one of the videos on the side of the screen, on one of the other Bowie videos I was watching, but I didn't ever get a chance to listen to it. What's it like?
I heard things that the person didn't point out, and I didn't hear the things that the person pointed out. And let me just look at... I know that I cut out a little piece and sent to my wife. Oh my god. It's so bad looking through... Oh yeah, Backmask David Bowie. Okay, I just need to search for this. Because I'm sure I heard him say, okay, you know what, I'm going to play it, and I'll ask you what you hear out of this little clip, right?
Okay. I honestly couldn't hear much. I think I might have actually heard him say Black Star reversed. In reverse. That's What did you hear?
I think you're referring to the reoccurring blah, 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 blah. But what I heard was, and I'm obviously filling in a lot of blanks here, right? But what I'm hearing is, I really want to know, what's this spell over me? Or does it even matter? Now let's try it again and see if you hear it.
Yeah, I could kind of hear that. There's a lot of interference between the phones, though, so it's kind of hard to, hear it completely. But I could definitely hear the first part more than the second part.
Me too.
What's the spell
actually.
over me?
There you go.
The second part I couldn't really make out as well, but I definitely heard the first part. He really, these artists, they don't get picked for, just no reason. There's there's a lot of weird stuff with, the early or mid 60s to late 60s to early 70s music that, just doesn't really add up, especially, the whole Laurel Canyon scene and, it's just really odd. I don't really believe the whole, hippie rock music was really organic, and I don't really think,
well, sorry,
British
hang on a
scene was
second.
either.
We've got to explain what you just referred to there. Laurel Canyon is where all of these big names that you associate with the 60s started in. Everyone.
And they all have military connections in their family, in their direct family, or some kind of intelligence connection.
Yep. Jim Morrison, the whole lot.
Oh yeah. You name one that was in Laurel Canyon, and they had military or military intelligence connections. You know, it's when you think about it, you know, you think, you know, if you really think of it as something innocent, you know, you think it's, you know, the hippie era was a good thing, but really what it was it was a way to demonize the, you know, Vietnam War protesters because they were actually succeeding in, you know, doing something before the hippies came along and fucked it all up. You know, they pretty much gave the anti-war movement the most, like, you know, disgusting face that America, you know, had seen up to that point. You know, they didn't, from what it was like in those days, you had long hair and, you know, you'd get hell, you know, it wasn't just long hair either. They were, you know, doing drugs and, you know, fucking in parks and all kind of just, you know, things that weren't acceptable in America in those times that still really aren't today, but, you know, they are definitely more acceptable than they used to be. You know, I believe the 60s movement was really to create the modern drug culture.
Yes, and ultimately to just destroy the fabric of society itself, to divorce for once and for all children from their parents and their grandparents, which is a really important fucking link to have, to actually learn things.
It is. You have to have, you know, some kind of guidance, and you are taught that, you know, your family, your parents, and their grandparent, and your grandparents just don't know what they're talking about, and they, you know, they're just, it's really fucked up. It really is.
It's only getting, you know, worse.
Oh yeah.
But can I interject with something? Something
Sure.
very fascinating. Just like they demonized the anti-war movement, they demonized long hair, right? I have long hair because I just instinctively know that I like to keep long hair. But there have been recent Freedom of Information Act documents released. And I know this sounds goofy, but during the Vietnam War, they went to recruit Native American trackers for the Vietnam War. And, you know, the military, they'd shave your head. Well, these trackers, they had a significant reduction in their capability of tracking and sensing enemy movements. Wow. And they actually conducted studies on this, and they found that the hair is an externalization of the nervous system.
Wow.
So if you have all of these druggies out there with long hair, you think, well, that's the symbol of a druggie.
Right.
Or a biker, you know?
Right. That's really intense. Who was it in the Bible that had
Samson.
long hair? And then, right, when they cut Samson's hair, he just lost all of his strength.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, I've always kind of felt something like that, you know, because I used to have long hair a long time ago, and I just always, you know, felt like I lost something when I cut it. And it, you know, I haven't had really any weird experiences like I used to have when I had long hair. I mean, and I know it sounds stupid, really stupid. Like, you know, I've seen a few unexplainable animals and, you know, just weird sightings. It's things that just shouldn't, you know, happen in, you know, explainable Earth. And, you know, I haven't really had any of these experiences since then, you know, and, it really might be linked, you know. I don't know if it has something to do with, you know, ESP or I don't know. It's just really strange. It's really weird that you said that. Because the average person will hear that and think, "Oh, that's fucking stupid." But so they said you said that there's a military Freedom of Information Act that came out about that.
Yeah, I can dig up the documents for you and link them
Yeah,
to
that'd be
you,
great.
and of course the listener as well on the podcast. I can share that, and it might actually also explain, how, and you're aware of this, cultural movement that suggests that women are more in touch with nature. Well,
Right.
maybe they are because they let their hair grow a little longer.
Huh. Wow. Wow. I knew you were going to say that, but that's really crazy. That is really, really crazy to think about. I'm sure it, you don't really, you don't really see too many women with their hair short that are really kind of, the same, like, earthy type, women, that, from what I've seen, I've got a couple women in my family with short hair, and they just don't, they're not, lesbians, or they're not, they're traditional women, but they're just not very womanly. They don't have they don't have like the mother complex that, that's strong and a lot of women, which is, I've always wondered why, because they're not bad people, it's just strange. It's really weird that you said that. And it's, the whole story about Samson, it just kind of makes sense. But, yeah, that's really
It's
good.
a doozy, as they say over here.
Yeah, they say it over here too.
Oh.
Hey, have you looked into anything else on the Mandela effect?
No, but I came across a video of someone talking about flat Earth, and they said that there wasn't ever any bridges to Staten Island.
Right, I've heard about that.
But, come on, there's always been a bridge to Staten Island. How did all those houses and businesses and cars get over there?
It was a ferry.
Really? The whole
That's what-
of Staten Island operates on a fucking ferry 3 times a day.
That's what they said. I mean, there may have been a bridge to. Which side is it on? Are they saying it's to New York or to New Jersey?
Brooklyn
Okay.
is one of
Is
the bridges.
Is there another bridge to Jersey?
I don't know. I could ask Francesca.
Because I mean, there are more Earth changes apparently, as far as the ones that I know. I've heard about the the big Jesus statue in, I can't remember, is it Puerto Rico? I can't remember exactly where it is, but there's this big Jesus statue, and apparently it used to be, like 20 or 30 feet taller than it is, from what a lot of people remember. And it's just strange that a lot of people have these memories that, when they, take like a survey or like some kind of a poll, asking what you remember, it's usually like 30 to 45% of people remember the same things. And that number is just pretty high for...
Yeah. If you misremember something, you're going to misremember it in your own quirky way. But people are misremembering things in a very uniform way.
Exactly. And I kind of, I don't know, I kind of I think sometimes I think it's legitimate, and sometimes I don't. But there are better examples of it than others. As far as like movie titles and book titles, those could really, those could, just be like us misreading into it. But then again, you have all these people that remember it being a certain way, and as far as like the Berenstain Bears, I remember reading those books when I was a kid, and I remember them specifically having an E. The A it changes the whole word. It does, it makes it a completely different word. And
for somebody who isn't American, Berenstein and then Berenstein?
It was Berenstein
Yes.
or Berenstein, either one, and now it's Stain with an A. Berenstain, like it's not Jew anymore.
Huh.
Yeah, it's really weird. And
for the listener, there's loads of examples of this was spelt this way, and this person died 10 years earlier than, he was on television. That kind of thing.
I remember Billy Graham dying in the late 90s, and I remember watching his funeral on TV. And then I read in a newspaper like a couple years ago that he's still he's writing again in the newspaper, and I have a vivid memory of watching his funeral. And at first I thought it was his son, because he has a famous son too, but it wasn't. It's literally the old Billy Graham. And there are a ton more examples if you look up. I think it's the MandelaEffect.com, or you can look it up on Google. There's this woman, her name is Fiona something or another, and she has been documenting all the different examples. And there are movie quotes that are different now. As far as Star Wars, it's changed from Luke, where Darth Vader says, "Luke, I'm your father." Do you remember that?
Yeah.
Well, now he says, "No, I am your father." And I've gone back on my old tape that I've had since I was a child, since I got it when I was like 8 or 9 years old. Mm-hmm. And it's not Luke, I am your father. It's no. So it's changed. And how have, all these people, remembered this quote? And also with Jaws, there's another quote that's changed. And a lot of these people who are trying to debunk it say, well, they've just changed it. Well, that doesn't account for, the movie quotes, that I remember from when I was a kid changing, to something. And it's not like, Berenstain Bears or Interview with a Vampire turning into Interview with the Vampire. This is something completely different. Luke and No sound nothing alike.
Yep.
That's not something that people are going to misquote. And in Jaws, it was, we're going to need a bigger boat. And now he says, you're going to need a bigger boat. In Forrest Gump, he says, life is like a box of chocolates. Now he says, life was like a box of chocolates. And it just doesn't sound right,
What?
Yeah, I'm telling you, life was like a box of chocolates.
That doesn't even make any fucking sense for what he was saying. My mama always said life is like a box of chocolates.
Right. Exactly. He says was now.
That doesn't make any sense.
I know.
I have to go back.
You do. And it needs to be on a tape or something that you've had, or someone that has had for, since it came out, because that's really the only way that you're going to believe it. Because seeing it on the internet is one thing, but seeing something that you've had since you were a child and you used to watch the movie all the time, You know, like certain people remember quotes verbatim from movies, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And these people are getting it wrong. Like giant parts of movies, you know. I used to hate watching movies with people who could quote the entire movie. You know, you want to end up choking them because they won't shut up. But, you know, when they get it wrong, it's really interesting.
Huh.
And they're only getting the specific parts wrong. I think it really may have something to do with CERN, honestly. You know, and their whole.
Now that's an interesting thought.
It's pretty crazy when you think about it.
Well, you know what? Do you want to add another level of mindfuck to this?
Sure.
Okay. Freeman Fly from the Freeman Perspective. Do you know
Right.
him? Okay.
Yeah.
So he's said that the first time that he saw chemtrails was in a Disney movie.
Huh.
And now, you know, when they're remastering all these cartoons,
Right.
they're inserting chemtrails into these movies.
Huh.
Like there's chemtrails in An American Tail, Fievel Goes West, 1991.
Wow.
So there's the actual phenomena of realities shifting, and then they're going to doctor our history.
Right. Yeah, it's pretty messed up. Honestly, I think what they're doing there is trying to normalize chemtrails for a new generation, you know, to pretty much make it like, oh, that's nothing. You know, we see them all the time.
Well, to bring it one step further, who was that person? Hang on. I don't know. A recent guest on the Freeman Perspective, she dealt with data collection and the disposition matrix. And she made the observation that there are children alive today. We have a generation that don't know what real clouds look like.
Right.
That's scary.
Well,
Because they can't identify that something's wrong.
You mean between the chemtrails and the clouds?
Well, at this point, in certain areas, the chemtrails are so heavy that they subsume the clouds. They just take over the sky. So people
they
are just
do.
used to seeing this haze.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, you know. And where I live, it's not that bad. You know, you see them every now and then, but you know, I hate when people try to play it off as contrails. You know, and because that's obviously not what's happening.
Yeah, because we saw loads of those in the 70s and 80s.
Right, and explain the fake snow phenomenon. Do you remember? Did you hear about that?
The stuff they tried to burn?
Yeah, it didn't burn. I got some of that snow. It was not right, man. I'm telling you, it was bad. It was like it was almost like sheet. Like it would land on a car, and it would like roll right off like a sheet of paper folding, like like a soft Kleenex, just folding over and over and over and over. It's really odd, and it's people were eating this stuff. You know, people make ice cream out of the snow here.
What?
God, yeah, they you like put vanilla and ice, or you put vanilla and I can't remember what else. Vanilla and milk, I think, or vanilla and cream, and you mix it up, and it's like a milkshake, like a vanilla milkshake.
Oh.
Yeah, but I mean, I think I may have eaten some of that actually when I didn't know.
Oh
So
no.
God knows, God only knows what was in that snow.
Even if it wasn't some mad concoction of fake snow, I think in the last 100 years, if you've been eating that traditional delicacy, you've been poisoning yourself.
Yeah,
Really.
probably. But I mean, you're poisoning yourself with the water that you drink. Is your water fluoridated in Ireland?
Heavily. And that's why I
Yeah,
get my water from a well. I shower in it, I wash my dishes, I wash my clothes. I can't help that. But what I drink comes from a well.
that's good. Do you use fluoridated toothpaste?
Nope. I
Yeah,
explicitly avoid that.
I haven't. I try not to use it, but I use baking soda based toothpaste, and they try to play it off like the baking soda doesn't have, or the toothpaste with baking soda in it doesn't have fluoride, but if you look on the back of the bottle or the back of the tube, it still does 9 times out of 10. And a lot of these
Wow.
natural toothpastes in America, they've got it in them too. So it's pretty bad. But what's funny is it says not to consume, a tiny amount of toothpaste, and the same amount of fluoride is in one glass of water, 1 8-ounce glass of water. So, it says to call poison control if you consume, that little tiny amount of fluoride on a toothbrush. So shouldn't we be calling the poison control for every glass of water we drink?
That says it all, doesn't it?
Yeah, it really does. I drink it, man. I do. I tried to drink bottled water for a while, and then I found out it was being fluoride was being added to it too. It must be nice having a well, though.
Yeah, I don't know how long that's going to last, but it's good to have access to one if you can.
Yeah, is it? Why do you say that? Is it drying up or what?
Well, it just so happens that the person that my mother is coupled with at the moment is in dispute with the banks over the ownership of the house. And it's kind of funny that his family own that land that the house sits on. So it's like, what the fuck, are you breaking up a family's land here? But
Right.
they may move after June or not, depending on how the fight with the banks goes. But this well water, it comes from a place that we call the Burren in west of Ireland. If you come to Galway, visit the Burren. It'll blow your mind. It's on the level of the fucking pyramids. I swear to God. And this water, you drink it, I swear it could cure cancer.
Huh.
It's the most delicate and rich water that you'd ever drink.
And I love a good, nice, clean glass of water, and it's hard to get in America. It really is, unless you have one of these expensive fluoride filters, which are like $300. Because you can't get it out with a regular filter,
Yep.
and I don't think you can boil it out either.
Nope. No, there's no way to separate it except for through a actual expensive process. It's sick.
Pretty sad that, yeah, it is, because I mean, how do the elite get around that? I'm sure they have some kind of a cure for it, that they, some kind of a pill or something that negates the fluoride effect. Or the
I have no
vaccine.
idea, but they're doing something because those fuckers live forever, man. They reach
Exactly.
like 120.
Exactly. Look at the Queen of fucking England. She should be dead by now. And they never
Parts
get
of
cancer.
her are already dead. That's how old she is.
I was thinking, these people in power, you never see them get cancer. Ever. And they tried, I posted this video today, or this website talking about how, basically how illogical it is that, conspiracy theorists, think that, there's a conspiracy to, poison the community. There's a conspiracy, just big conspiracies in general. They tried to say how illogical it was. They tried to use statistics, but it's just bullshit. It's bullshit. They tried to play off the NASA thing. They said that, that could only happen. It could only last for 4 years, the whole hoax before somebody, caved in. They said 9/11 would have unraveled by now. Well, it did unravel. They're never going to admit that they're just never going to admit it. Most people know, and that's as good as it's going to get. A lot of people, well, I shouldn't say most people. Most people probably don't know, but a lot of people do know. But I think even if the government did tell them, they probably wouldn't believe it still.
Yeah.
No, they couldn't. They would never do anything to hurt me. The Holocaust, this is the only thing they ever think that was bad in the whole history of the world, apparently. They love to talk about the Holocaust and the Nazis and yada, yada, yada.
No mention of all the other fucking Holocausts in the world. The Communist Holocaust, the Irish Holocaust, the Native American Holocaust. Holocaust.
Exactly. That's the only time anything ever evil happened in the history of the world, and it'll never happen again, in their opinions.
Well, as long as we keep the white men down, that's the only way that it's never going to happen again.
Correct. Because we're the only ones who have ever committed genocide, apparently. It's pretty funny. The rationale behind these sick people. But anyway, Howard, I gotta get out of here and pick my kids up from daycare. It's been really nice talking to you, man. I would love to do it again soon.
I'm loving it. And I love you.
Hey, I love you too, Howard, man. I'll talk to you later, buddy.
Take it easy.
You too, man. Bye.
Bye.